Oh,
Oh, good. Is it time?
Her book is the #1 new release in motherhood.
Shut.
Let me go look.
Carrie has a new book, but you can't get it yet. So that happens
No.
even in pre-sale?
Yep. Yep.
I'm no
It
book expert.
says
Clearly.
#1 new release in motherhood.
Is this like on Amazon or what?
Yep. Oop, oop, oop. #1.
And this is her book. She's self-published.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I wonder if she knows that.
Oh,
Hi,
she's
everyone.
about to know it.
Hi.
The #1 new release in motherhood, right here.
What's that?
Your book is the #1 new release in motherhood.
I wish that were the case. That's very
No,
nice.
it is. Have you looked? It is.
No,
It
what are
is.
you talking about?
What? Go to Amazon, type your book in, and then click from Kindle to paperback. You have the #1 new release in motherhood.
Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea.
Yeah, you have to check it all the time. And then, this is a little insider baseball. So then when you scroll down, Carrie, go to your book in all of Amazon, and all the bajillion books of Amazon right now is number 500.
What?
5,000. Sorry, 5,000. Still really good. It's number 11. Parenting books on children with disabilities. Yep.
That's incredible.
So the goal is to get the top 100.
Wow. I'm going to show, can I show the page just so people can see? And I haven't, guys, really, we just went live with the paperback version this weekend. So it's not really been that long. Wow. Well, thank you.
Look at there. It's your big trick. How does that happen, Kate? That means a lot of people are pre-buying.
Yep.
That's exciting. I haven't checked my numbers because really we landed from Adrian's event, fantastic weekend, and drove straight to a crew meet where I've been all afternoon. So I haven't really been organized. So that's something I should share on my page. I'm guessing.
I'm texting you right now exactly what to share.
Thank you. You have to.
I might make that into a T-shirt.
Yes. Adrian, how are you feeling? Is Amos back?
Yes, he's back. I woke up to him. He was about right here, and he said, "I'm pooping my pants." I said, "Oh,
welcome home.
Welcome home. Party's over." Yes. So we took a shower and took Blair to youth group, and Thomas just went and pick her up, and I'm good. I took a 2-hour nap.
I bet you needed it. You know how she is, Kate. She was everywhere. She came screaming up to us at a golf. I thought when you said you drove around in a golf cart, it was like a little 2-person that you go on a golf course with. It's like an 8-person passenger vehicle. Now, what Joe wanted to know, Adrian, is can Amos ride in that and be safe because there's no seatbelt?
Yes, it has seat belts.
Oh, it does. Okay, I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yes, he loves it. I usually pick him up. If he doesn't ride the bus to our house, I pick him up on the golf cart.
And you can just ride in your streets on that thing. It's legal.
Yeah, honor. You have to stay in a certain vicinity, but then you can kind of sneak. I can get to the Pizza Hut and the Food Line in it.
Where is your food, Joe? I was saying to Joe, where does she grocery shop? Kate, you got to see this town. It's unbelievable.
It's near the overpass. There's the Pizza Hut, the AutoZone, the Taco Bell, the McDonald's.
Yes, we saw those. Okay.
The nail place.
Real southern there. Real southern.
Roses.
The
Speedway.
The Pinterest.
The Pinterest. The overpass.
So tonight, we are going to talk about something that seems relevant to all three of us in a very different way. Coming off from this weekend, we had 200 plus people in Edenton. Carrie was able to come, which was great and really fun. And I was left really thinking about something that Kate has talked a lot about to me more than I do, but building community. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how all three of us have very different communities. And it's just interesting when you ask people, like, why do you follow me? Or why are you here? I think Carrie was noticing and talking. Carrie did her own meet and greet yesterday, which was great. And
no, Joe did it. I was just there.
Oh, Carrie basically didn't eat all weekend because she couldn't get away. People were like lined up talking to Carrie, Joe, and Big Thomas.
And we had a great time. Yeah. And I wasn't, people were like, you got to eat, you got to eat. I'm like, I'm not here to eat. I can eat later. We always got to eat. We don't look like people who starve. And although I did make Joe go to the gym twice. And I was there to soak it all in. I want to hear people's stories and understand what they relate to in ours. And so we loved every minute of it. And Joe's really good in those sorts of spaces. So.
Oh, he was delightful. He was delightful.
He
But
popped up in a lot of photos on my feed. I'll tell you that. A lot of Joe.
Oh, he's like, do you want a selfie?
We need a Joe poster.
We do.
So I guess I'm kind of interested in people that are like, I think one thing you hear still, and it's the little voices in the background of like, I'm sure a lot of people tell their families, we're going to go to a mom's retreat. We're going to go do this. We're going to go to a conference. We're going to go hear Carrie speak here. And people are like, well, why are you doing that? And I think that's really what I want to talk about in our next 20 minutes. Like why? So Kate, you start us off. And I think my first question is, when you started doing what you're doing, were you thinking actively about building a community?
No. Nope. I'm very open, and all I wanted to do was find one other kid like Cooper. That was my sole purpose in sharing. And then it kind of morphed into I wanted to find another mom like me, another sibling for Sawyer, a dad for Jamie. It kind of morphed. It wasn't until I would say maybe 3 years in. So Cooper would have been like 9 or 10. Once I made it through my initial super hard days, that I was like, I need people. And where mine started was I wanted to be able to go to events. So here, there may be like a random sensory friendly something, but it's at like 7:30 a.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. Like and thankful, yeah, but like it was never convenient. And then the second reason was we still really stand out in a group full of families. Like we're still a lot. So I started having events to find the families like mine.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a slow build.
Yeah, it was. And I think COVID really pushed it. My community really started online, and then we Zoomed. Lots and lots and lots of Zooms. And then it morphed to in person more.
And you've got this big group that we were talking about this weekend, because some of your people were here, of writers. You have this huge group of writers, and I don't have that. I mean, I did have some come this weekend, which was really fun, but that is not a group I would say I have. And it's so neat. I really enjoy that. You have that.
Yeah, it's called Finding Cooper's Voice FCV Blog Squad, and it's ran by 3 awesome ladies, Lindsay, Rachel, and Amanda. And it's all pages, mostly moms, but there is some dads and self-advocates that want to grow their pages. And I will tell you, there's like 300, and there is a chat that's going nonstop. Like, hey, if you figured this out with Reels, or look at this weird comment I got. Like, it's really awesome to see that grow.
Right. Oh, well, anyway, I like that. Okay, Carrie, tell us a little bit about your beginning and your purpose.
Well, mine was a little backwards. I did write a book called What's Color is Monday. And the publisher I was working with said, unless you start blogging regularly and get on social media, I won't work with you. I wasn't on social media at all. So Jack was 8 at this time. So I've been writing for 11 years, really consistently. So the community sort of grew from there. And, Jack was diagnosed 18 years ago. I didn't know anything about autism. I've said it again and again, my only context was Rain Man, truly, of what autism was. But I can't say it's like Kate's story where I was searching for someone to align with. I more wrote as a way to process and make sense of my day. I write typically at night and then first thing in the morning. And it just became a really sacred space for me to unravel what was happening in front of me from like this 360-degree view. And it's only been the past like 5 years that I'm like, oh, wow, from that came this community of people who see a piece of themselves inside of our story. What I'm struck with time and time again is I feel I have a really nice percentage of grandparents.
So do I.
You probably do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I met with one lovely one this weekend, and she said, she was so sweet. She said, I wish you were there when my daughters were little. She said, because I didn't understand what like her experience was. And I was the grandmother that thought she could just discipline them better. And she was so overcome with like guilt. And I just said, I want to take that away from you because we just all do the best we can. So, like, I think people who can plug into where you are on your journey and take something from it is very meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that having Joe there was special because he's, he pops his head in here every now and again, but he's pretty peripheral. And it was meaningful to him to see what we do, right? Because I overheard him saying to somebody, in the beginning, I wasn't crazy about how much she shared, but being here now, I can see what this means to people.
Oh, sweet. Jamie said things like that too before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I think, your spouses have jobs, and Kate's does insurance. You know exactly what he does. Carrie's is a dentist. He's out. Thomas is in the courtroom. It's very clear. This is my job. This is what I do. Where then you have us, and it's like, well, what is that a job? Are they working? What are they doing? So a weekend like that is very clear of what's happening. And I felt the
Right.
same way about. I love having Thomas because I get a comment a lot of times of like, well, we don't see Thomas. And I'm like, well, you don't see me in the courtroom with him either.
Right.
And I think it's because there are a lot of big family blogs where this is like what they do
Yep.
as a group, which would not do well at this house. I like some separation. I like that it's mine, but appreciate. So when I started, I had no thought of a group. I just was like, I gotta save myself. I am drowning. I'm gonna I'm gonna drown in all this truth and fear. So I'm gonna share it. And the first couple stories that made me think about community were siblings that reached out and said, I was the sibling of, my sibling has special needs. And I would hear really good stories, but even more, I would hear not so good stories about my parents never gave me any attention. We never did anything together. And it really, that sense of community, I was really kind of building for my children in a weird way. That sounds like it, but I was connecting to them and kind of trying to change my trajectory of what our family was going to be like based on community, and we had a lot of people. My town is really small, and people are doing this and that. And somebody said like somebody said to somebody like on the street, well, I just don't know why y'all follow her. And that's 1%, right? 99% are like, this is awesome, businesses are thrilled, people love it, it's great. Then there's always going to be a 1%. It's like a gnat, right, in your wine. I mean, they show up. And I said last night, my parents were here, which is super fun. My in-laws are here. And my dad came up after my parents, my mom were late, and he said, I talked to this woman for a long time, and she lost her son to brain cancer last spring. And she just was telling about how you just inspired her to get up and telling stories. And I lost a brother to brain cancer, and my dad never ever talks about it. So like here's this community that's
Right.
enveloped my parents too. And like if that's not a wonderful thing, like I will never doubt that this isn't the right thing for me. And I think you all would feel the same way. Like, and it is not easy. It is hard to be criticized. And, it's not easy, is it?
No, I mean, yeah,
No.
and especially as the kids get bigger. I mean, Jack's 19, so I get questions a lot like, how do you figure out what to share and what not to share and respect him as this thriving young adult? And it's a constant navigation. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Kate?
Oh, I've threatened to quit 100 times because I mean, so I went through after my viral video, I went through a lot of really scary bullying. I talk about it in my book a little bit, but I mean, I was receiving death threats. I got doxxed. It was just terribly scary for speaking my vulnerable truth online. I'm past a lot of that, knocking on wood. I'm past, I get left alone a lot. I stay in my own lane. I share about the positives, and I'm a much different writer now. What I get, and I share this with these two ladies daily, is I get scolded 25 times a day about things that you wouldn't believe. Like, and they're like backhanded scolds. Like, your hair would be so much cuter if you'd cut it. Or if I had Winnie in a dress and someone's like, when my kids were little, they had much cuter shoes than you dress your kids in these days. Like, and we're talking like 50 a day.
Oh,
I will start to go like a little nuts. Like, I want to like lash out. Like yesterday, someone said to me, and like Adrian and both of you, I don't share my husband a lot or even my other kids all that much. I try to stick really to my mission, but I'll have someone say like, do you ever see your husband? Does he not like you? Like things like, I mean, it's just like, God.
Yeah. Oh, I get messages like, you're getting divorced. And I think like, do I ever send people messages that I don't know, crap like this? So I find it's downright funny. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think that part, but we've committed to community, and you can't get away from it if you're going to do what we're going to do. Like, there's no way we can get out of that, right? But our subscriber pages, we each have subscriber pages. And after this video at 7:45, we're going to go over to mine. So every week we're on a different person's page, and we're trying to do then a subscriber Q&A afterwards. Instead of us talking, it's a chance for you all to ask questions. So we each have these subscriber pages and talk about community. For the most part, our subscriber pages are safe places for community. Do you agree?
Yeah. Do you know the story behind my subscriber page? I probably shared this with you, but I share this in every keynote I give. So Winnie wasn't born yet. I had the 3 kids, and there was a weekend where Cooper went to my mom's. My mom's is the only place he can go overnight. She loves it. He loves it. He would leave us in a second to go to her house. So he went on a Friday. Jamie and I took our 2 youngest at the time, Sawyer and Harper, to the beach. And for the first time in their lives, they were 6 and baby. We spent 8 hours at the beach. We spent breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I realized halfway through, it was the first time I had ever sat and built a sandcastle with Harbor. I was able to sit. Cooper was a runner. He's a thrower. He gets tired. We have to leave. He was very, very naughty back then. And that's the word I'm using. Attention seeking. And I wrote this post when I got home. It was beautiful sunset. I wrote this post. How for the first time ever, I had taken my autism hat off and I had put my neurotypical mom hat on. And it went like mini viral, and all these people were like, I see you. I bet that was amazing. And like 10% of the people were like, why do you hate Cooper? Why don't you love him? Why do you hate autism? And I went to Jamie and I said, I'm done. This is a true story. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so sick of this SHIT. Like I can't defend this anymore. And the next day, Facebook reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to start a paid supporter group. And I said, yep. And I said, no.
I didn't know that.
Yes. My partner manager's name was Kai. And I'm like, this is never going to happen. No one will ever follow me. They won't pay to listen to me. I'm a nobody. And I launched it, and I had 1,000 people overnight that were like, we can't take the bullying in the mom groups either. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's a true story. That's the true basis. Because I was like, and if it's me and 5 people, then I will share my story at the beach with these 5 people.
Right.
Yeah. That's my reason.
I don't know when people stopped understanding that they can simply unclick to stop viewing content that doesn't resonate with them. It's very easy. Instead of lashing out at the creator, just stop putting in front of you which doesn't feel good. That is maddening. I'm much smaller than you guys, so my backlash isn't quite as like volatile. But what I love about the subscriber is Jack, he's entering territory that's not often explored, being a young man on the spectrum, we can really dive deep into concepts like I'm not quite ready to bring to the larger universe, right? Somebody asked me there, would we consider like, so Jack is 19, he's in a supported college program, he's interested in online dating, he's interested in exploring relationships. Like, it opens up this whole new set of worries in terms of birth control and making sure he's safe, like sexually. And over there, we can explore that in a way that I feel protects his privacy also. But also, these things require some level of discussion.
And there's, so to piggyback off that, where I'm at is meds, weight gain, aggression, school not wanting him, all these different parts. I need to talk about them. I don't know where to talk about them. Like, you can't pop into like the baby center and like hop on the autism page. Like, you'd get eaten alive. So it's like, I think, we're encouraging people, like, find whatever your supporter group is, whatever your niche is, like, find it, and you can ask and be safe these questions.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, there was a lot of people here this weekend that live alone and are struggling, and not necessarily with autism. It could be a disease they have. It could be several people were caring for elderly parents and had gotten respite so they could come for the weekend, and it's never occurred to me to think about needing respite for an elderly parent. Like, that's not in my hemisphere yet.
Or a spouse.
Yeah, or a spouse. And it's like, wow, they need a safe place too. They want to feel like, it might not be autism, but it's so much more than that. So I think when people think, well, there are autism pages, like, that's a little snippet, of what I think we're really I think we're all hitting on community.
I had this lady tell me one time, and it was really eye-opening. She said that she reached out to me privately, and she's like, I've been a part of your supporter group for a long time. She's like, I've struggled with my own weight. She's like, I am very obese, and I can't seem to find a community that will accept me. And she's like, your group has accepted me. And I was like, I don't even know if anyone would even notice that. Like, it was, I can't imagine feeling that part of exclusion. I don't know that. But she's like, you guys talk so openly and honestly, and I forget what we do, like what we give sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I forget we just do it. So like, I forget that like someone can pop on and say, this is hard, or I forget that we can't just do that anywhere sometimes.
Yeah. And I think it gives us perspective too, right? That other people, if I get on a video sometimes randomly at like 5 a.m, if I'm awake, and that people are like, the nights are so lonely. I have never had a lonely night in my life. I don't, for me, that sounds heavenly. But for some people, that is what they're coping with, is being alone at night, and that's hard for them. So it makes me just more aware that we really don't know what people have going on. And we need to tell each other,
For a year and a half, Cooper woke up every day at 3 a.m. And when I share the hardest days of my life, it was like 3 a.m. to like 7 a.m. to when the rest of the world woke up, because I had no one to text. I went crazy. And I have moms say to me now that they will rewatch a live at that time, and they'll talk to me. They're like, we're not crazy, but like, we just have to talk to someone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it would have saved my life to have someone.
Right. That you could have tuned into. Yeah.
I think people want to see, how do I put this? I posted over the weekend because it was in your town, Adrian. This guy popped into a restaurant, and he said hello too loudly, and he sort of disrupted everybody's lunch. We were at the Governor's Pub. And when he walked out, there were some murmurs about, oh, what's he doing here? He shouldn't be allowed in this space. And it's not in any way like a stain on your town. It's something that happens the world over.
Right.
But those moments now cause me a moment of a pause.
Right.
And I notice the world in a much different way. And I know I'm not alone in that. And to piggyback on what you said, Kate, it's like we've chosen, I mean, I don't know any other way to be personally, but we have decided to live our lives out loud. And I want to do that across the board on my big page also, but there's just some things that are best kept right now small.
Just thinking, Adrian, did you just write that down?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. Yep.
What are you writing? Oh,
Nothing. We'll tell you later.
I'm copywriting that.
You should. You should copyright
You can
that.
use it, but
Uh-huh.
you're gonna have to pay me.
Mm.
There's
We'll
something I was
send you
gonna
a
say.
check.
Yeah.
Carrie, you just said something that I often say in a different way. Autism has given me the gift of sight. Being Cooper's mom, and I just had something recent to it happen, like you just described. I was at the airport coming home, and I saw an adult man who was heavier, and his shirt was like up, and like his pants were hanging down, and it was either a caregiver or someone caring for him, and they weren't like watching him, like they weren't like making sure his shirt was pulled down. And I was so overtired, I cried as I was walking to the parking garage, because we have that issue with Cooper. And I think about, if I didn't have him in my life, would I have been like disgusted, or would I have not even noticed? Like, it's the gift of sight. We have it. It's a
But
burden.
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a burden
'Cause it
too. It's a
hurts.
lot.
Yeah.
And when I posted about this gentleman, a few people on my page said, well, why didn't you speak up? Wasn't that the opportunity, to give reference? Like, I was far from anybody that I could hear. Sometimes you can't really take that on in that setting.
No.
My speaking up is writing about it on my page. Now I'm
Right.
bringing it to however many people are reading my words.
Mhm.
Sometimes advocacy has to take different forms. We've chosen this route, and I think I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. And today, before we move over to the subscriber page, I went to lunch. My husband and my parents and I went to lunch, and we were walking to our table, and there was a big table and a young man with clearly some developmental disabilities. And, I seek out those families now.
So do I.
I said, oh, hey, I'm so glad, to see y'all or whatever. And sat down. And sometimes if I get a minute, I'll say, like, I have a son with disabilities, and I hope someday we can go out to lunch and sit and, not be crazy, like your son is doing. Just because I had a good friend who, her daughter has a lot of disabilities, physical and developmental, and they were out on a walk. She was pulling her in a wagon, and another family, they kind of met on the sidewalk, and the children were staring at her. And the dad said, come on, let's go. And she said, I just wanted them to say hello.
Just say hello. I say that all the time.
They just had to say hello. And that really, when she said that, that has resonated with me for so long, that I say hello. I'm like, damn it, they're never going to see me and have me not say hello.
No, I agree completely. I think that camaraderie out and about is so meaningful. I've had mothers, we were all traveling one time, and when you see someone who's with a family like your own.
Right.
And I said, I have a son like your son. And she simply like relaxed in a really visceral way, and was like, okay, I'm safe here.
Right.
There's a special needs moms group, the first one that I joined, that wasn't nice. I'm just going to tell you that. They were not nice people. And now that I have my group and all of us, I wrote this post that said, sit with the women who say hi to your child. I wrote that because we're like, hi, Ben, hi, Celie, hi. We're always, those women didn't even know my kid's name, and they were around him. It was like, he was like a burden or something, but just say hi, just acknowledge his existence. That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm thankful for y'all, because my children, particularly my daughter, who was in here with the mask on over my shoulder, and I'm sure somebody will be like, you shouldn't let her do that. But part of my building community is letting Blair have access to my friends that are mothers of kids with disabilities, and
Sawyer,
and your children, and Sawyer and Jack and Cooper, and maybe Charlie if he's on. And because we live in a little place, she doesn't have access to other moms and siblings. So for me, she's in here maybe with a mask on. She really wants to hear what we're talking about. And
I love that.
And I'm thrilled that she does, because we're all learning. Well, thank y'all tonight. That was really great. And I am going to say goodbye, and then we're going to be over on my subscriber page for a little brief 15-minute Q&A.
All right. We'll see you shortly.
And this
Thank
is
y'all.
our
Go
personal page,
follow
right?
Carrie Carriello and Finding Cooper's Voice.
Thank you.
Carrie has the new book, number 500 on the Amazon
I can't
list.
believe it. I'm like, I have to check that out. Thank you. Yeah,
Kate told her that at the beginning, and she goes, "Oh, I wish." Kate goes, "No, it really is."
Well, look, you're number one. Your motherhood.
number 1.
Your motherhood. Go look.
That's-
Number 1 in motherhood.
I'm going to screenshot that. That
Who
means
knew she was such an amazing mother? We're going to take lessons.
An amazing mother. Yes, that's it.
Goodbye.
write about it. That's all. I don't know how to do it.